Right, so we have our first signs that we could see new Macs launch at WWDC in a few weeks, because there are now database filings for new Macs with Bluetooth 5.3 support, and so let's delve into it. So yes, in case you weren't aware, it's very common we see new products mentioned in database filings weeks before their release. For example, this happens often with iPhones, AirPods, new Macs in the past. I remember the M1 models leaking in this exact same fashion, so yes, there is a very good chance these new Macs mentioned are going to release pretty soon. Now, unfortunately, we have no details regarding the specific Macs in the works, but there are two Macs mentioned, and they both are getting the Bluetooth 5.3 standards, and so those are likely to be the Mac Pro and the larger MacBook Air in the works. And this actually is not the first spotting of a 15-inch MacBook Air, because in a survey Steam recently did, there were two unreleased Macs, a Mac 14,6 and a Mac 15,4. Now the 14,6 Mac, that turned out to be the M2 Pro MacBook Pro, but of course the 15,4 has yet to be released, and so I'm assuming that's a 15-inch, though I guess there is a chance it could be the Mac Pro instead. Either way, considering these Macs have been found in separate databases, does suggest release is going to be pretty soon, so of course we could see both these launch at WWDC. And by the way, would like to remind you guys, like this video and subscribe for more content like this, it would be appreciated. Now moving to the Mac Pro, I was not excited for this initially, but 9to5Mac has given us a big report that finally explains the purpose of this Mac Pro. So in case you weren't aware, Gurman's been giving us a ton of not so great news regarding the Mac Pro recently. For example, there's no Extreme chip, there's not going to be as many expandability options with this, and the design's going to be identical for the most part. So yes, I was bummed out by this news. However, 9to5Mac now tells us they have found references to a new compute module device in Xcode that could either be a GPU that you can attach in the machine to give you more GPU grunt, or more excitingly, this could be the SoC itself that could be removed and replaced, and maybe even doubled or tripled. So what I mean by this is that let's say one compute module has the M2 Ultra chip. Now you should theoretically be able to add many compute modules, maybe 2 or 3 of them, which each include the M2 Ultra, which gives you insane performance. And so yeah, that feature would definitely be enough to differentiate this from the Mac Studio. And by the way, the existing model does have similar features. For example, 2 MPX GPU modules are connected using Infinity Fabric Link technology, which of course Apple could theoretically use with these compute modules to give us 2x or 3x M2 Ultras. And yeah, bundling many compute modules inside the machine does make sense because the Mac Pro design is massive, and if there's only one M2 Ultra inside the machine, then it's kinda pointless. There's going to be a lot of space wasted, and so this could be the perfect solution. And remember, Gurman so far has told us there are going to be PCIe slots in this, and while he said they would only be used to expand storage inside the machine, that might not be the case. They might be for the compute modules. And the great news does not end there, because if Apple does give us a modular design like this, that would theoretically mean there is a chance that when the M3 Ultra, the M4 Ultra, the M5 Ultra, etc. launches, we could just buy that compute module and replace it in our existing machine, instead of having to buy a completely new machine. Obviously, this is just a theory. There is a chance we're completely wrong about this, and 9to5Mac themselves do theorize it could instead be a processor box for the reality headset, but I'm hoping that's not the case, and I'm hoping we do see exactly what I explained for the new Mac Pro. And shout out to Evan and Dave, because they actually predicted this months before these rumors came out. So yes, I'm really hoping this does pan out. And finally, for those wondering, are we gonna see new displays alongside the Mac Pro launch? That does not seem as likely anymore, because Ross Young has told us once again the 27-inch mini LED panel has been postponed, and so maybe Apple's going to release new displays after the Mac Pro's announced. And do remember, in the past there has been a gap between the announcement date and the actual release date of the machine, so there is a chance the display would be ready by the time the Mac Pro launches, and so Apple does still announce it. Now I do want to finally mention that yes, I'm aware Ross Young has told us we could see an April release for the new MacBooks, but honestly that seems less likely now, I think, because we saw the M2 MacBook Air release at last year's WWDC. It makes a lot of sense to release the M3 models at this year's event, and I think it's more likely we see production begin in April, but of course, the release is still going to be in June. Anyways, let's delve into your questions. So Josh has the M1 iMac, and he would love to see an iMac Pro, ProMotion, OLEDs, more ports, would convince him to upgrade. And fair enough, especially OLED, if we see that on the iMac Pro somehow, that would be nice. Though I do have my doubts because producing a massive OLED panel on the scale Apple needs is a little difficult, so it's more realistic we see mini LED on this. But either way, ProMotion, more ports, and additional power would be nice. And hopefully we also get black bezels. So Journey Stan says, Apple's going to keep the same design for the next 10 years. The way the world economy is at the moment, they might actually lower the color options. And that is a very fair point. In fact, even before the recession, the iMac rarely saw design changes. And so yes, expect the M1's design to remain the same for the next few years. And yes, you're right, we could see less color options since these machines are not as popular as the MacBooks and other desktops, and so having so many SKUs might not be worth it. So Jay Smoothie says, I wanted the iMacs to come next month. Waiting until the end of the year is far too long. It needs to get yearly updates truthfully in line with all of Apple's other products. Now I've got to disagree there because while we don't know exact stats, we know there's been a general downward trend for all-in-ones. Many are getting laptops, and so I don't think the iMac's actually that popular of a machine. In fact, even before Apple Silicon, Apple did not update the design for 10 years, and so that should tell you guys, the iMac's not really that popular of a product. Apple's keeping it around because there is still a niche market for it, and also the education market, but it's not big enough to warrant yearly upgrades. And do remember, the M2 compared to the M1 was a pretty minor refresh, and so waiting it out and only updating the iMac when there are big upgrades to Apple's base level chips personally does make sense. So Donnie Ledesma says, I love the design of the M1 iMac, bought one myself. And that's pretty cool, and in fact I have seen pretty good deals on the M1 iMac. It's come down significantly in price, and so if you're in the market for an all-in-one, this is the one you should buy because M1's still great, the display's still great, the design is fantastic, and so yes, in 2023 the M1 iMac's still worth buying. And I can't lie guys, if I find a good enough deal I might get one myself because it would be nice to have a family computer that my younger brother could use. So yes, hopefully by the time the M3 models launch, the M1 massively goes down in price. Anyways, that's about it guys. Tell me your thoughts regarding this in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys. Make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumors. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one.